Hi, welcome to CSDB Noon Bites. Today we're going to talk about resources for individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing. I'm Lisa Shigio, the audiologist here at CSDB, and hopefully we'll have some interesting information for you that maybe you don't know about or will be helpful for you. Now, way back in the past, these were the resources that hard of hearing people had, and times sure have changed. Today, you know, we're all familiar with hearing aids and cochlear implants, but there are other resources for deaf or hard of hearing individuals. As we go through these slides, I'm going to pause when I change the slide to give people time to read the slide first so they can watch the interpreter. So what if an individual has a hearing aid or a cochlear implant? Isn't that enough? Sometimes it is enough, but sometimes it's not. There are times when hearing aids or the cochlear implants have to be removed. Or sometimes the listening environment is challenging, such as in a restaurant or a classroom. But people who already have a spoken language base may need less of these resources than someone who was born deaf. And this is just a review of the audiogram with the speech banana. And at the top of the graph, if you remember, the numbers across the top represent the pitch or the frequency of sounds. On the left-hand side, the sounds are low pitch, and on the right-hand side, they're high pitch. On the y-axis of the graph, at the top is very quiet sounds, and at the bottom are very loud sounds. And in the middle there, the yellow section, that's where average speech sounds typically fall, according to their pitch and according to how loud they are. So you can see on the left-hand side, the sounds have voice behind them, such as ooh, ah. Those tend to be louder and lower pitch. But the sounds on the right-hand side have no voice behind them, such as TH, F, and S. And so, since there's no voice behind them, they're quieter and they're higher pitch. So even if someone's wearing a hearing aid or a cochlear implant, some of the speech sounds may not always be heard. In this example, this person's wearing a hearing aid in the right ear. But as you can see on the audiogram, where it has the A's, it shows that they can hear low frequencies better than the high frequencies. So this individual might miss some of the high-pitched speech sounds, such as the S and the F, the SH, or the TH. And so they'll hear the words being spoken, but it may not be clear and understandable. So this individual might need some additional assistance when trying to communicate using spoken language. And some people choose not to use amplification, and they communicate using sign language. So what is an assistive device, or in this case we're calling them resources? One example would be equipment that helps people hear better in difficult listening situations. There are devices that help individuals who are deaf to communicate with people who are hearing. There are apps that can help people learn ASL or practice speaking. There are telephone services. And then there are just devices that make life pleasurable, a little bit easier, safer. And there's equipment used in the classroom. And then at the end, we'll talk about a few little helpful hints that I've gotten over the years. So how can deaf people communicate with hearing people? One device that can be used is called a translator. The hearing person types in words that they'd like to say to the deaf individual, and then there's a video clip that signs the words that were typed in. And I just wanted to let you know that I will be showing you different devices, but several different companies make these devices. But I'm just showing you one example from one company. If you're interested in any of these devices, you're welcome to do your own web search and see all the different companies that make these devices, and you can compare prices. This is an example of some software that can be downloaded onto your computer that acts the same as the translator that I just showed you. And I've had students tell me that sometimes they will use their cell phone or their iPad and they'll type out messages on the screen and then show that to a hearing person, and then the hearing person will type their message and show that to the deaf person, and that's how they communicate. And this device, the Ubiduo, I believe that's how it's pronounced, it's two keyboards with two small screens. You place them back to back, and then the two people who want to have a conversation sit facing each other and type in what they'd like to say to the other person, and it will show up on the screen as text, and it shows up real time. So it's just like having a conversation, and you can even interrupt each other. And I think this might be useful in cases like a doctor's appointment or an appointment where you're speaking with someone for an extended period of time. I don't know what the price would be on this. It's probably quite pricey, but if you're interested, you could check it out, and maybe it's not too bad. There are ASL interpreters throughout Colorado. On your screen you've got 4 examples of them, but there are more. And on the bottom there you can also get video remote interpreting 24 hours a day. So even if you need someone in the middle of the night, you could use that service. And there are devices that just make life easier and more enjoyable. This is one device that's worn around the neck, and it plugs into listening devices like phones or iPods. And the wire around the neck gives off an electromagnetic signal. And the hearing aid or the cochlear implant must have a T-coil or a telecoil setting in the device in order to hear the sound from this. So if you're not sure if the hearing aid or cochlear implant has a T-coil option, you could ask your audiologist. They do make vibrating watches that will vibrate as an alarm instead of beeping. There are alarm clocks that vibrate or flash lights, and this can be interfaced with your phone so you don't sleep through calls. And one lady I read on a blog, a deaf blog, she uses her cell phone, and as an alarm clock, she puts it on vibrate, and so it vibrates under her pillow when she needs to wake up. A Bluetooth streamer is worn around the neck, like the other neck loop I showed you earlier, but this device is used with Bluetooth-compatible hearing aids, and it's used to listen to cell phones, MP3 players, iPods, things like that. And again, if you're not sure if your hearing aid or cochlear implant is Bluetooth compatible, you can ask your audiologist. These examples of TV amplifiers are used without a hearing aid or cochlear implant on. So they're just worn as headphones alone. And if you think you'd be interested in trying one of these, you want to make sure you get a trial period, because they're not perfect for every hearing loss. While they are probably adjustable as far as the volume and the tone controls, it may not be exactly what you need as far as what your hearing loss is or what your child's hearing loss is. So you want to make sure you can return them if they don't work well for you. And the same goes for amplified telephones as well. They may not work well for everyone. There are also amplified answering machines. And doorbell and phone signalers are available, and they can either flash lights or have a louder ring to them so they can be more audible. And for those of you who don't already have this service with your cable provider, there is a device that will allow incoming calls to show the caller ID on your TV screen if you're watching TV. So if you don't want to get up and check who's calling, this might be a good device for you. CapTel is a phone service that allows the listener to use the phone headset, but you're also able to see the conversation on the screen as text. So if the listener misses a few words here and there in the conversation, then the listener can just look on the screen and see, oh, that's what I missed. And so it just helps with the listening. And this can also be used on your smartphone, tablet, or computer by using Web CapTel. And there are some other relay services we're going to talk about. Sprint VRS provides CapTel, and they have relay service. They have instant messaging so that the user can type in a message, text a message to the operator. The operator then leaves a voicemail for the hearing individual, and it can also go the other direction. And relay conference captioning is this diagram here at the bottom of the screen, where the user types in a text message and the operator voices the message to a conference call to people listening, and then it also goes the other direction as well. Sorensen provides video phone service, and they offer free video phones for deaf individuals, and they use ASL interpreters. And they also have text-based relay calls for your PC or mobile device. AT&T provides video relay service. They have CapTel as well. They have instant messaging service, and they have a service called speech-to-speech relay, where the operators have been trained to listen to different speech disorders and they are able to translate that to a hearing person on the phone. And for individuals who prefer TTY, that's still available through AT&T. ZVRS provides desktop or portable video phones, and they have a free download for Apple mobile devices. Purple VRS provides video relay service as well. They have text relay. They have on-site interpreting, and they also have interpreting over live internet. And this is another free service. And they also have mail service for iPhone and Android. And if you don't have a video phone, you can always use Skype. But I found that Skype is a little bit fuzzy and hard to see sometimes, but it still works if you're in a pinch. alldeaf.com is a website with lots of information for the deaf community. There's calendar of events, frequently asked questions, and products for the deaf. There are blogs and chats. So I caution parents to check it out first before they let their child look at this website, because anyone can put anything on there. When I looked on it, I found it to have some interesting information on there and nothing objectionable, but you never know day to day who's going to write things on it, so just be careful. ColoradoDeaf.com has events that are happening in the deaf community. OIC Movies has interesting information and news in ASL. And there's also a guy on there that tells funny jokes. There are other websites. You can do a search if you'd like. Some of them I found to be a little bit strange, and so I just want to caution you, check them out before you let your child look at them. International Hearing Dog is an organization that rescues dogs from animal shelters and then trains them to assist deaf and hard of hearing people. And in this picture, which is a little bit dated with the avocado phone and the rotary dial, but I thought it was cute. He's alerting his owner that the phone's ringing. They also can alert their owners that the doorbell's ringing or there's someone in the backyard, or if you're going on a walk, the dog can pause. If there's an event happening, the dog will pause and look in the direction of the event, and that alerts the deaf person that something's happening and you need to go look at it and see what's going on. Some people train their family dog to alert them to environmental sounds as well. There are also closed caption DVDs, and if you look on Amazon.com, you can get a list of those. And there are exercise DVDs for deaf or hard of hearing people. And this particular one has a flashing light that flashes to the rhythm of the music, and it also changes color in response to the intensity of the music. And there are also exercise DVDs that are taught in ASL. There are devices to make life safer. Smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors can be hooked up to flashing lights or vibrators. And baby cry signalers also can flash lights or vibrate. And some people use motion sensors. They might place them in the backyard, and so they know if an intruder is in the backyard. Or some people place them inside the entry hallway of their home, so they know if someone has broken into their home. And there are body-worn receivers that will vibrate in response to a baby cry or a doorbell or smoke detector. NOAA Weather Radio is a service that will alert deaf or hard of hearing individuals when there's bad weather coming, such as tornadoes or flash floods. And it can send a signal to a bed shaker or pillow vibrator, strobe lights, things like that. And there's a website that's there at the bottom of the screen in red if you're interested in trying that. DeafMD is a website with ASL videos that explain medical information. They explain many diseases, what tests to expect, and how to interpret those test results, and how to find a deaf-friendly physician. And what are some devices used in the classroom? You all may be familiar with FM systems, but I'll just go over it briefly. The teacher wears a microphone, and the student has a receiver attached to the hearing aid or cochlear implant, and the teacher's voice is sent directly to the receivers on the child's ear, and so it's like the teacher is standing right by the student, 6 inches away from the ear at all times. So it overcomes background noise, echoing in the room, and the teacher can feel free to walk around the room or turn and write on the board without worrying that the student can't hear. An induction loop system is similar in that the speaker wears a microphone, and there's a loop that goes either under the carpet or around the edge of the room, and that loop acts the same way as that neck loop I showed you earlier, but the listener has to have a T-coil option in their hearing aid or cochlear implant in order for this to work. Computer-assisted real-time transcription, or CART, there's someone in the classroom with a laptop or a stenographic machine, and they're typing what is being said by the teacher. And that text is then sent to a laptop sitting on the student's desk, or it can be projected up on the wall on a screen. And I've listed some information on how to get CART. So if you want to download the PowerPoint presentation later, then you will have these websites that you can use if you're interested. Now for practice in speaking, there's a device called a VV talker. So the parent or the speech pathologist will speak into the device, and it will show a graph of the word on a screen. And if the student is having trouble saying that word, they can say the word into the device, it will show the graphic representation of how the child said it compared to how the adult said it, and then the student can change the way he or she says it to match the way the adult said it. For learning sign language, there are ASL apps for iPhone and iPad. There are sign language websites. I just listed 4, but there are others. For learning signed English, there's a website called Sign For Me, and it provides sign language instruction in 3D. And quickly, some helpful hints. If a hearing person seems uncomfortable when you're trying to have a conversation or trying to communicate with a deaf or hard of hearing individual, know that they're not doing it on purpose. They might be awkward and they don't know it, and they're trying their best. So try to put the hearing person at ease. Just tell the person, speak directly to the deaf or hard of hearing individual. One of our teachers here said she went to a doctor's appointment and she brought her husband who was hearing. The doctor kept speaking to her husband, and she just wanted the doctor to speak to her. So you can just gently let them know that. Tell the person to use natural gestures, don't yell or exaggerate your lip movements, and sometimes writing is helpful. To get the attention of a deaf person, all of these things are acceptable: flashing lights, stomping on the floor, waving hands in the air, or tapping on the shoulder. And one teacher told me that she had her desk facing a wall, and when people would enter the room, it would scare her. So she put a mirror above her desk, and then she could see people approaching. And to end today on a light note, what language do pigs speak? Swine language. What language do porcupines speak? Spine language. What language do billboards speak? Sign language. If there are any questions, I know we only have a minute left, but my phone number and email are on this PowerPoint. If you need to contact me, feel free to do so. Oh, we will send out the link to the PowerPoint presentation later. So you will have my phone number and email address, and you'll have all those websites on there. And I really thank you for your time and your attention. Have a great day.